Hi, this is David Voss, CCIE 11372, and in this video we're covering branch office design. Specifically, in this video you're going to learn about designing for a very small office, the small office, a medium-sized office, 4-hour versus extended service, a medium-sized office layer 2, and then a large size office. All of these are types of branch offices that you'll need to know for your CCDA exam. The Cisco Enterprise Branch Architecture takes into account services such as voice, data, video, and security that customers want to deploy at their endpoints, no matter how far away the endpoints are or how they are connected. Using borderless networks, the Cisco Enterprise Branch Office architecture should provide seamless connectivity. An effective network design for enterprise branches and teleworkers requires knowledge of campus technologies. The Cisco Enterprise Branch Architecture is an integrated, flexible, and secure framework for extending headquarter applications in real time to remote sites. It uses the Cisco network architecture for the enterprise framework, but it applies it to the smaller scale of a branch location. Common network components that can be implemented in the branch include routers that provide WAN edge connectivity, switches that provide the LAN infrastructure, security appliances that defend the branch offices, wireless access points for device mobility, call processing and video equipment for IP telephony and video support, and end-user devices, including IP phones and computers. Cisco has developed 6 topologies to meet remote office requirements. Each design is based on a set of requirements, which we will discuss now. First, size. The primary classification criteria is the size of the remote site. The size of the remote site is based on the number of ports required, which is dependent on the number of employees at the site and any special applications supported in the remote site. Some sites allocate 2 to 4 ports per employee, while others allocate fewer than 1 port per employee. In addition to head count, other factors that may impact the total port count. This can be such things as meeting rooms, public areas, reception, and other IT devices or security cameras. Next, wiring closets. Different buildings may require only one or more than one wiring closet. Since some cabling can only carry, for example, 100 megabits per second fast Ethernet for about 100 meters, any building longer than 200 meters should have more than one wiring closet. Multi-storied buildings should also have more than one wiring closet. Please note that while large and multi-storied buildings often house more users and more ports, that's not always the case. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the office types. The very small office model covers offices servicing approximately 1 to 5 people, where service level agreements can be negotiated around the lack of redundancy for data and voice networking. Examples of small offices include the convenient office, a small office with a client company, or a small Cisco leased office with shared facilities such as phones and internet connection. A very small office is defined as having one or all of the following characteristics. The maximum number of access ports to be supported at the remote site is 23. The site does not require any redundancy in terms of leased switches or devices on the network. Voice-enabled Cisco ISR 3845 router would be a good example of the hardware you would use, using an EtherSwitch service module, IP phones, and access points. The site can be supported by a traditional leased line-based WAN or VPN connection over the public internet with reduced SLA. The next site we'll discuss is the small office. The small office model is designed to support offices with a total port count not exceeding 288. The design is flexible enough to be used in implementations where either all access ports are aggregated into a single wiring closet or where the access ports are broken into different wiring closets up to the total of 5. A small office is defined as one that has the following characteristics. Maximum number of access ports, 288. Redundancy is achieved by deploying dual WAN gateways, each with their own WAN circuit. Where more than one switch is present in the same wiring closet, the switches are deployed in a stack. At minimum, 2 switches should be stacked together in the core. Hardware, a typical hardware you'd find would be a Cisco 3845 router, and up to 6 switches using IP phones and wireless access points. It is the preference for this site to be deployed using a permanent WAN service, but if that is not possible, then a VPN connection over the public internet can be used. The next branch office model is the medium-sized office. This design covers medium-sized offices where critical service is required. And this is where we talk about the Cisco SmartNet contract or support contract. This design is classified into 2 separate models, which Cisco specifically refers to as 4-hour and 4-hour extended. 4-hour extended model includes an additional switch to support sites with a secondary communication room or wiring closet. A medium office 4-hour extended is defined as one that has the following characteristics. Up to 336 switch ports for 4-hour model and 672 ports for the extended model. 1 or 2 communication rooms or wiring closets. Redundancy is achieved by deploying dual WAN gateways, each with their own WAN circuit. Each LAN switch is deployed with dual supervisors and dual power supplies. The site would have a Cisco router with an EtherSwitch service module supporting IP phones and access points. It is the preference for this site to be deployed using a permanent WAN service, but if that is not possible, then a VPN connection over the public internet can be used. The next model is the medium-sized office. This design caters for medium-sized offices where the total port count does not exceed 1,344 ports and where there are no more than 3 wiring closets. Typically, you'll find higher powered dual switches that are deployed in the core, even though they already have dual power supplies and dual processors. This is done for offices where shipping and local customs may cause replacement equipment to be delayed, or where the potential impact to the client is far too great to implement a 4-hour model. A medium-sized office is defined as one that has the following characteristics. Up to 672 switch ports for layer 2 and 1,344 ports using the extended model. Between 1 and 3 wiring closets. Redundancy is achieved by deploying dual WAN gateways, each with their own WAN circuit. Each LAN switch is deployed with dual supervisors and dual power supplies. A voice-enabled router with up to 4 high-powered switches with dual supervisors and dual power supplies. The Cisco Catalyst 6500 series is the typical switch you would find in the core. And this is supporting IP phones and access points. It's the preference for this site to be deployed using a permanent WAN service, but again, if that's not possible, then a VPN connection over the public internet can be used. The next model we'll talk about is large size office. The large office model caters to all remaining sites exceeding the specification for the preceding models. Typically, the sites have a requirement of greater than 1,344 ports and or more than 3 wiring closets. The large size office has a distribution layer to support the extended network. These sites differ from earlier topologies because the switches are redundant. The port capacity is larger and the business supported at these sites is critical. Within Cisco IT, this model is typically referred to as the complex model. A large size office is defined as one that has the following characteristics: 1,344 access ports and beyond, no restriction on the number of wiring closets. Redundancy is achieved by deploying dual WAN gateways, each with their own WAN circuit. Each LAN switch is deployed with dual supervisors and dual power supplies. The hardware would be a voice-enabled Cisco router with typically higher-end Cisco switches like the Catalyst 6500 using dual supervisors and dual power supplies, also supporting IP phones and access points. It is a requirement for this type of site to be deployed using a permanent WAN service, and Cisco does not suggest or it would not qualify for this type of deployment using a VPN solution over the internet. So here's what you've learned. You've learned about branch office design, specifically the 6 different models. That is the very small office, medium-sized office, 4-hour versus extended service, medium-sized office layer 2, and the large size office. All this information you'll need to know for your CCDA exam, but also certainly to make you a stronger design engineer in your enterprise. Good luck in your studies.